Hi, my name is Collin and you're watching another Goof game review, and today I'll be reviewing Middle-earth: Shadow of War.
We do not serve the Dark Lord! We will take this land for our own!
After the events of Shadow of Mordor, Talion, aka definitely not Aragorn, and his bestest pal, Celebrimbor, decided they needed to forge their own ring of power, a ring free of Sauron's corruption. The purpose of said ring is to beat Sauron at his own game, which is to indoctrinate the minds of every Uruk in Mordor in an effort to defeat Sauron. Now, before I begin reviewing the game itself, I need to preface this by saying that Monolith takes quite a few creative liberties with the Tolkien mythology. And there were quite a few times when playing the game where I sort of took a pause to question the contrast between events happening in the game and the existing canon. I learned pretty quickly that I would need to set aside my knowledge of the lore and take Shadow of War as it is, and I would advise that others do the same. That being said, that doesn't mean the story suffers as a result. Even though I expected the story to take a backseat to other aspects of the game, even though sometimes it does, it manages to fill in the gaps in the canon in a variety of interesting ways. Something Shadow of War definitely excels at is gameplay. Much like the last game, Monolith combined the fighting mechanics from the Batman Arkham series and the traversal mechanics from Assassin's Creed to create a fully satisfying experience. Except this time, everything is bigger. The map is bigger, the landscapes are bigger, the enemy types are bigger, the battles are bigger. Seriously, it's really impressive how the Firebird engine is able to handle so much going on at any given time. The combat itself is extremely fluid with the merciless one-man wrecking crew that is Talion, who is again definitely not Aragorn. Despite the character often feeling weightless as he effortlessly flips from one side of the screen to the other, you cannot deny that the combat is simply fun. Everything from walloping off the heads of Uruks to dominating their minds and riding Drake from up above while you rain down fire to extinguish the orcs below, Shadow of War is nothing less than a playground where you can fulfill all of your orc-slaying fantasies. Some might say that the combat is overly simplistic given that there really is only one attack button with only the bow to differentiate the combat, but much like the Arkham series, I really don't think it matters. When the fighting is this enjoyable, I could care less if there were one attack button or 5. As much fun as it is fighting with Talion, his character is rather dull in just about every other aspect. Talion, to put it nicely, is fried eggs on toast, but he is in no way similar to Aragorn. Nope, no resemblance whatsoever. The biggest highlight of the game by far, even more so than the combat, are the Uruks and the Nemesis system. Just like the last game, the Nemesis system acts as an orc hierarchy within Sauron's army. If you kill a captain, another Uruk will fill their position, but if that captain kills you, then he advances up the hierarchy. It's an incredibly intricate system that's fun to exploit, and it manages to make dying itself fun. Each battle with the captain, war chief, and overlord is a memorable experience, especially due to the cutscenes before every battle. Sometimes you encounter an orc who's wearing the army of an orc you killed in a game before, or ones with a complete inability to speak, ones with 2 faces, and ones that even serenade you before the fight begins. The Uruks are easily the best part of this game, considering the fact they're far more interesting than our main character. Monolith definitely took a cue from the Peter Jackson films in terms of the visuals department. Suffice to say, the settings are gorgeous. Whenever you're laying siege to one of the heavily guarded fortresses, or just admiring the horizons from on high, it really makes you feel like you're in a Lord of the Rings movie. And given what they were trying to achieve, there's no better compliment to give. They matched the Peter Jackson aesthetic perfectly. Now, I guess I have to talk about loot boxes. The simple matter of the fact is, implementing loot boxes in what is essentially a single-player RPG is a gross business practice, and is borderline predatory. That being said, you can ignore them entirely and not miss a single thing. While grinding may be annoying at times, spending money just so you can play the game less makes absolutely no sense. So, don't buy them. Middle-earth: Shadow of War is a blast, plain and simple. Despite the game centering around a very dull protagonist, every other aspect of the game more than makes up for it. The environments are beautiful, the combat is epic, and the orchestral score made the fights even more epic. Monolith fulfilled their duty in creating the ultimate Middle-earth sandbox, in which we could kill Uruks in every conceivable way we could imagine, and set up large-scale battles on par with those seen in the films. So, with all of that said, I give Middle-earth: Shadow of War an 8.5 out of 10.